This is a demonstration of how to do Kaplan Meier survival analysis with confidence interval calculation on a free web-based platform. I was looking for a guide on how to do this with a free program, and R was one of the very few free programs, but it's very complicated. And other apps seem not to have confidence intervals, but this is online, free, with confidence intervals. I will paste the URL to the video description later so you have easy access. The web page loads like this, and I like to go to the raw data entry. So if you go to a spreadsheet, you can create some artificial data. I'm a surgeon, so the data that I create will be based on having patients that have had surgery to a limb and then have survival until a time period. So I'm going to create a set of artificial patients. And then that column is actually an invisible column here, because each row here represents a different patient or a different entry. The next column we want is a time period measurement. I will put months. So in this column, I'm going to put months. The next column we want to have is an event or censored. In this case, because we're doing a survival analysis, the event that we would want would be perhaps death. Everything else that's censored means that that event was not what happened. So in a medical perspective, that is often patients were lost to follow-up, so it was the last time they were contacted, or they withdrew from care, so it was the last time they were seen, or if they're still surviving, it would still be censored because they did not die. Anything that's not the exact event you want is a censored event. If they are censored at the time of the current study, then you would simply have the months be from whenever they had their first procedure, for example, their surgery, or the start of the study, that patient became enrolled until the current month, however many months that was. So in this case, it's going to be death or censored. So death is going to be 1, and censor equals 0. You also have the option to create different groups. For example, this group can be anatomy sites, location of surgery, or you can group it by comorbidities they may have, such as they're diabetic or have obesity or other problems. I will put an anatomy example. So the number of months that the patient is followed is whatever you calculate. I'm going to create random numbers. I'm just going to put between 5 and 30 months. Now, the patients have to either have one event or the other. I'm going to create a random number between 0 and 1. And yes, every time Google Sheets performs a calculation, it performs all the calculations, so these randomize each time. It doesn't matter. Again, here we're going to have potentially a tibia or femur, so we're going to have the same random number between 0 and 1. Okay, and on our other sheet, these are blue, so I'm just going to make it convenient and have these be blue as well. Obviously, it doesn't need to be. Okay, so although you can import in other ways, I don't want to get into that because it's not successful for me. So I will just do raw data entry. So the number of months, remember, every row is a different patient, for example. So just copy and paste, simple. Again, deaths or censored. Copy, paste. Now you can actually do this calculation without a group. So if I had all these patients and I just wanted to see them as one group, I guess you can't do it, but you can have them all be 0. And it just gives you that single group with a confidence interval. Now again, you can have it be multiple groups. So this can be a random number between 0 and 1. Go up here, paste the data. Again, yes, it's different than these two columns are different, but that doesn't matter. We're not interested in these columns. They're all random numbers anyway. Now we have two groups with two groups of confidence intervals. Down below, you can get your chi-square analysis to see if it's significant. In this case, it is. It's less than 0.05. And you can get your other comparison of means, and even your R code if you want to do that. Okay. We can get even more interesting, and we can say, what if it's for other locations? For example, the foot. Well, that wasn't very interesting. Let's redo that. That's what happens when you get random numbers. Okay, so now we have all three, and we have confidence intervals. So this is the really nice thing, is you can get all these calculations. They provide it just like a good statistical package would. They give you the graphs, so you can understand it graphically. Those are the good sides. There's a little bit of a downside. You cannot export any of these images to a image file, so it makes putting them into a paper more complicated. What you can do is you can print screen or use a snipping tool to capture the file, the graphic, and then you can import that into a photo editor or picture editor, and then you can resize it, rename it, and do other things you'd like. You cannot export it with all of these data points visible that I'm trying to successfully mouse over, but struggling a little bit. But you can see what I'm talking about. It's not as convenient to have each event have its own hash mark. Similarly, if you want to overlap these confidence interval graphs, you would have to get tricky, copy the image, paste it into a graphic editor, change the transparency perhaps, change the color hue, change the opacity, and then simply overlay them over one another in succession with something like creating a new layer for each one of your different colors. The trickery is up to you, but this web app provides pretty much everything you'd want to do in a simple enough format. It's free and it's online. I hope this helped you. I looked for hours trying to find a free program to do this and an explanation of how to do it. Good luck.